working on an answer find and shade worksheet that's covering substitution. And all substitution is, it's just you're replacing or you're changing a variable to something else. It could be another variable, but it's usually a number. So substitution just means to replace or change. It's kind of like when you have a substitute teacher. They're replacing your teacher. Well, before we start the problems, let's look at the directions for the shading. It says, shade the even-numbered problems light and the odd-numbered problems dark, or choose two different colors. So basically, it says to shade the even problems light. So if you see problem 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, those are all even-numbered problems, so we need to shade those in light. And the other ones, the odd ones, like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, and so on, we need to shade those in dark because they're odd. If you come down here to the problems, and we're starting off with problems 1 through 8, the directions say find the value of each expression if D equals 20 and W equals 16. Really quick, you might have heard of the word expression and equation. The only difference between an equation and an expression is an equation has an equal sign, an expression does not. Don't make this any more difficult. An expression does not have an equal sign, an equation does. So if you come up here really quick, do any of these problems have equal signs? No, they do not. So all of these are expressions. W plus D minus 15, 54 minus D minus 21, 20 plus 3D. None of them have equal signs, so they are all expressions. The problem says D equals 20 and W equals 16. So all we do is switch the W and the D's to what they want us to change them to. So here, W is 16 because it says W equals 16, and the D is 20 because it says D equals 20. On problem number 2, well, we have a D here. So all we do is switch it to a 20 because D equals 20. Oh, here's another D for problem number 3. So we switch it to 20. Problem number 1, we would just really quick do 16 plus 20 because order of operations with adding and subtraction, we work from left to right. So we do 16 plus 20, which is 36. Then we would minus the 15. And then we'd say 36 minus 15, which is 21. And then we'd find 21 up in the picture. And since number 1 right here is an odd, we would shade it in dark because it says all the odd problems are in dark. So we'd shade that one in dark. So we'd find all the 21s and shade it in dark. I'm looking at 1 through 8 right now. If we can actually do 4, I think we could do all 1 through 8. So let me help you with number 4 really quick, and then I'll let you do the rest on your own, and then we can come back and we'll check your answers. So let's take a look at problem 4. We have 4 parentheses 2W minus 24 end of parentheses. And we know per the directions that W equals 16. So this right here is 16. But wait a second, does that make 216? Actually, it does not. If you've forgotten, a number next to a variable means multiplication. Also, if you have two variables next to each other, it means multiplication. So really, 2W means 2 times W. And since W equals 16, the problem will look like this. 4 parentheses 2 times, well, W, and we know that's 16, 16 minus 24. Now, you should know you have to do everything in parentheses first. We have multiplication and subtraction. So we have 2 times 16, that is 32. Then we have minus 24, and we have parentheses, and we have a 4 on the outside. Now we do the 32 minus 24, and what does 32 minus 24 equal? That equals 8. I'm just going to write it right down here. Sorry for being a little messy. Now we have parentheses here, and a 4 next to the parentheses. Again, 4 next to parentheses is the same thing as 2 next to the W. It means multiplication. So right here, all we do is multiply. 4 times 8 is 32. So there is our answer. So then we find 32 up here at the top in the picture, And we look for it and we shade that in light because problem number 4 is an even numbered problem. Okay, now I've done 1 and 4 for you. Why don't you try doing 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on your own? So press pause. When you're done, press play, and I'll tell you the answers. You can check them, and we'll go from there. See you in a minute. Welcome back. We were supposed to do 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on your own. So let's check these out and see how you did. Problem number 2. You've got D equals 20. So we've got all subtractions. So we're going to do 54 minus 20, which gives us 34. Then you're going to minus another 21. And that is going to give us 13. Then we find 13 at the top, and since it's an even number, we need to shade it in lightly. Remember, there's more than one 13 in the picture, so you have to find all of them. Well, let's look at problem 3. D is now going to be 20, and since a 3 is next to a variable, it's going to be multiplication. So this is going to be 20 plus 3 times 20. And you're going to do multiplication first because order of operations tells us to do that. And we're going to get 60, and we're going to get 20 plus 60, which equals 80. And again, you're going to find 80 at the top in the picture. And since it's an odd, all the 80s you find, you're going to do dark. Now we did problem 4. Problem 5, we are going to get D equals 20. So this is going to be 20. All right, W is going to be 16. Now, you might have said, wait a second, what is this little dot right here? Since we're using variables, it's kind of difficult to be using the old multiplication sign like this because it looks just like an X. So sometimes you write this and this and this. You're like, wait a second, am I doing an X or multiplication? So sometimes they use the little dot right here. Now, usually, in the future, you're not going to use a little dot. You're just going to have a number next to a variable, or you're going to use parentheses like this. But I think they just wanted to throw you a little curveball right there and see how you did. So actually, that dot right there means multiplication. Hold on one sec. Let me clean all this up. All right, right there. When you look at this, you have 20 plus 16, and that's going to be times 3. Well, again, we do multiplication first, so we're going to get 3 times 16 is 48. You have 20, and then you say plus, and that is going to equal 68. So again, you find 68 up there, and since it's an odd, we're going to shade it in dark, and you have to find all the 68s. I think you got the shading part done, so I don't have to explain that anymore to you. Now let's look at problem number 6. You got W, which is going to be 16. You have D, which is going to be 20. And again, you have to do parentheses first before you divide. So you always do parentheses first. So you're going to get 16 plus 20, which is 36. You're going to divide by 3, which gives us 12. Then problem 7, D is now going to be 20. And again, a number next to parentheses means multiplication. So you're going to get 2 times. I know I still use the X. I'm just kind of showing it to you really quick. Might actually start being a good habit to use parentheses. I'll remember that next time. So we have 2 times 20 plus 16. And 2 times 20 is 40 plus 16. That is going to equal 56. And the last one, problem number 8, D is going to be 20 again, and W is going to be 16. Now, some of you might have been thinking, wait a second, I'm supposed to do addition first because please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That is wrong. Subtraction and addition are in the same family, so you need to work from left to right. So on this problem, subtraction actually comes before the addition. So you have 20 minus 16, which is 4, plus 4, which gives you 8. Okay, so we did problems 1 through 8. I showed you the answers. Make sure you have them correct. If you made a mistake, fix it. Don't just be copying from me. Remember, you're going to probably be tested on this stuff. Now, if you really get this and you understand it, you don't have to listen to me anymore. Forget about me and do the rest of the problems yourself. If you still need help, we're going to start on the next set in a second. Well, I assume you made problems 1 through 8 beautiful and your teacher's going to love you. So let's look at problems 9 through 16. The directions say find the value of each expression if t equals 0.5 and n equals 0.2. Wow, we got decimals now. Crazy! You have to be a little careful here. Problem number 1. N. Well, n says n equals 0.2. So this is going to be a 0.2. And t is going to be 0.5. So 0.5. And 0.2 plus 0.5 is going to be 0.7. I want you to try problems 10 and 11 on your own, and then I'll help you with problem 12. Because 12 is starting to talk about exponents. Press pause, do 10 and 11. When you're done with those, press play. We'll go over those, and then we'll do problem 12 really quick. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Problem 10. You have 7 parentheses, which is going to be multiplication, t, which is going to be 0.5, plus n, which is going to be 0.2, end of parentheses. So we know we're going to have to add the 0.5 and the 0.2 first, which gives us 0.7. And put the parentheses and the 7 back, which we know is multiplication. So all we do here is multiply 7 times 7, which gives us 49. And you see right here we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal, which means when we're done we need 1 digit to the right of the decimal, which gives us 4.9. Problem 11, we have 2 next to t, which is going to be again multiplication. We have 10 next to n, which again is going to be multiplication. So we have 2 times t, which is going to be 0.5. Then we have plus 10 times n, which is going to be 0.2. And we do multiplication first, order of operations. We have 2 times 5, which is 10. And again, we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal, so we have to have 1 digit to the right of the decimal, so that becomes 1.0. Then we have 10 times 2, which becomes 20. And we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal, so we need 1 digit to the right of the decimal. So we have 1.0 plus 2.0, which is 3.0. But if you look up at the top, you're not going to find a 3.0 because 3.0 also equals 3. Problem 12. We have t to the second power, or t squared, and n to the second power, or n squared. And all that means is that you have 2 t's. 2 t's, and all you're going to do is multiply. Here you're going to have 2 n's. And all you're going to do is multiply. T is 0.5 times 0.5 because we have 2 of them. Then we're going to have plus n, which is 0.2 times 0.2. 5 times 5 is 25. And we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal here and 1 digit to the right of the decimal here, which means we need 2 digits to the right of the decimal when we're done. We have a plus sign, and then we have 2 times 2, which is 4. We have 1 digit to the right of the decimal there, and we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal there. So when we're done, we need 2 of them, but we only have 1 digit here. So basically, we have to add a 0 and put a decimal there. 0.25 plus 0.04 is going to give us 0.29. Why don't you give problems 13, 14, 15, and 16 a try? Press pause, do them, press play when you're done, and I will give you the answers. We can check them, make sure they're right. Again, if you understand all this, you don't have to listen to me. You can just do it on your own. If you need help, Come back and I'll help you some more. See you in a bit. Alright, welcome back. We're working on problem 13 next, and 13 has a 2 next to an n. Well, if you look up here in the directions, you see n equals 0.2. So we have to put 0.2 where the n is, and since 2 is next to a variable, it's multiplication, so it'll be 2 times 0.2. Now over here we have 3 parentheses with a 2 next to a t. And up there it says t equals 0.5, so we need to change the t to 0.5, and 2 next to a variable means multiplication, so 2 times 0.5. Now we have an n, which is 0.2 again. Alright, so let's rewrite this really quick. Actually, we can multiply the 2 times 0.2 because it's over here on the side, and we get 2 times 2, which will give us 4. As you can see, we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal, so we need 1 digit to the right of the decimal. I can put a 0 here just to help us out. Then we have plus 3, and we have parentheses, and then we got to do it inside the parentheses first before we multiply the 3. So we have 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. But again, we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal, so when we're done, we need 1 digit to the right of the decimal. So I put a decimal right there, minus 0.2. Well, we can't do anything with the 0.4 until we take care of the parentheses and the multiplication. So we end up with 3 times 1 minus 0.2 will make 0.8. Again, we have the 0.4. We times the 3 times the 8 right there, and we get 24. But again, don't forget you have 1 digit to the right of the decimal, so that's 2.4. And then we just add 0.4 plus 2.4 will give us 2.8. Okay, problem 14. We have t equals 0.5. We have minus 2 with parentheses, and n equals 0.2, and t equals 0.5. We can't do anything with this 0.5 until we take care of the parentheses, so just leave the 0.5 minus 2, and 0.2 minus 0.5 is going to give us a negative number because we're trying to take away more than we have, and that'll give us a negative 0.3. So we have 2 times 3, which is going to be 6, but we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal, so we need 1 digit to the right of the decimal when we're done. Also, we have a negative times a negative, and 2 negatives make a positive. We put in the 0.5, and we get 0.5 plus 0.6, which gives us 1.1. And you'll find 1.1 at the top, and you're going to shade it in. Since number 14 isn't even, we're going to shade it in light. All right, number 15. We have 19 times parentheses. A t is 0.5 minus an n, which is 0.2. And we know we already have to do the parentheses first, so let's just rewrite this. 19 times 0.5 minus 0.2 will give us 0.3 plus 0.3. Now we're going to multiply 19 times 3. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 carry the 2. 3 times 1. So that'll give us 57. But again, we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal, so we need 1 digit at the end. So then we got 5.7 right there. Plus 0.3, and that will give us 6.0. You'll not see that at the top because 6.0 also equals 6. So you'll be looking at 6 in the picture to shade in. Last one in this set, problem 16. T equals 0.5 minus 0.2. So all we're doing is subtracting 0.5 minus 0.2, which already just did a second ago. That'll give us 0.3. and we have it to the second power, or it's squared, so which means we have to do 0.3 times 0.3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, but you have one digit to the right of the decimal here, and you have one digit to the right of the decimal here, which means we need 2. But we only have one digit. So basically we have to add a 0 here and put the decimal there. You can add a 0 just for the fun of it. So you have 0.09. Don't forget the digits to the right of the decimal need to be put back in when you're done multiplying. Well, those are the answers for 13, 14, 15, and 16. Check your answers. Make sure they're correct. If you made a mistake, go back and fix it. Remember, make your worksheet look nice. If you're still shading in, finish up your shading, and then start working on 17, 18, and 19. So press pause, give those a try, come back to me, and I'll help you out and show you what I got, and we can check our answers. All right, see you in a bit. Welcome back. All right, we're almost done. We only have 3 more left. So on this set for 17, 18, 19, the directions say, find the value of each expression if x equals 5, y equals 0.8, and z equals 7. Wow, so we have whole numbers and a decimal right there. So let's not get confused because it's 0.8, not 8. Problem 17, you have z, which is going to equal 7. So we got a 7 there. You got y, which is going to be 0.8. You got 0.6, and you got x, which is going to be 5. And every single one of these is squared, or to the second power. So we're going to do 7 times 7, which is 49. We're going to do plus 8 times 8 is 64. But when you multiply, you're going to have 2 digits to the right of the decimal, so we need a decimal there. Then we're going to have 6 times 6, which is 36. And again, you're going to have 2 digits to the right of the decimal, so the decimal is right there. Then you have 5 times 5, which is 25. And since it's all addition, order doesn't matter. So we can do, oh, there's an easy one, 0.36 plus 0.64. That will give us 1. And so all we have is 49 plus 1 plus 25. Let me put a plus sign there. And that would be 49 plus 1 is 50, plus 25 will give us 75. Problem 18, we got z is 7, and this is going to be multiplication because you got a number next to a variable. You got 2 next to an x, which again is going to be multiplication. Then we have 5 parentheses x, which is 5, plus y, which is 0.8. So let's do what's in parentheses over here first. We're going to have 3 times 7, which is 21, and 2 times 5, which is 10. Then minus 5 times 5.8, because 5 plus 0.8. Well, 21 plus 10 is 31, minus 5 times 5.8. Well, 5 times 58. Again, don't worry about the decimal until you're done. You can put that back in. 5 times 8 is 40. Carry the 4. 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 4 is 29. We need one digit to the right of the decimal because we have a 0.8. That becomes 29.0. So basically, it's just 31 minus 29, which is 2. Final problem. Woohoo! We're almost done. Problem 19. Now this one was a little tricky because we had a division bar going across, which basically is kind of like parentheses. It kind of stops us a bit, especially when we got addition in here. So let's put in the numbers and then go from there. We got y equals 0.8. We got z equals 7, and there's a plus sign there. We have z equals 7 minus y, which is 0.8. And then we're dividing it all by 6. We have 0.8 plus 7, which will give us 7.8 times, wow, multiplication because you got 2 parentheses next to each other, times, what's in this other parentheses, 7 minus 0.8 will give us 6.2. Woo-wee! And we have to multiply that? and then we're going to divide by 6. So really quick, let's check this out. I'm going to do it right over here because I can't even do this one in my head. Maybe you guys can do it really quick in your head, but I'm going to need to write this out. 78 times 62. 2 times 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. We need to add a 0 or a placeholder right here because we're starting off at the 6 right here, which is in the tens place now. So we do 6 times 8, which is 48. Carry the 4, which becomes 4 up here. 6 times 7 is 42, which becomes 46. And if we add all this together, 6 plus 0 is 6. 5 plus 8 is 13. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 6 is 8. And we get 4. All right? But remember, when we first multiplied, we had 2 digits to the right of the decimal. So we need 2 digits to the right of the decimal. So the decimal is going to go right there. So we're left with 48.36 over 6. And this becomes a division problem. I know it looks like a fraction, but when you write a fraction like this, it can also be division. Now, a lot of people get confused of which one goes in the inside and which number goes in the outside when you're doing a long division problem. This is how I remember. I remember this evil monster, and he hates fractions. Oh, I hate fractions. And he loves to push them over to change it to a division problem. I'm going to push you over. So he falls over, and when he lands, the 48.36 lands right there, and the 6 lands right there. And the 48.36 says, no, help me. And the 6 says, build a house. And they build a house, and they become a long division problem. So now you can divide, bring up the decimal straight up when you're dividing. You get a decimal there. 48 goes into 6 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. You subtract. You get 0. You bring down the 3. 6 cannot go into 3, so you put a 0. You bring down the 6. You get 36. 6 goes into 36 6 times. And that equals 36. And if you subtract, you get 0. So our answer is 8.06. Again, sorry I got a little messy. I ran out of some space, but I think you get the idea. Well, we are done. Yeah, we're done. All right, so check your answers. Make everything look nice. Hopefully your worksheet doesn't look as messy as mine. Color it in. Let's see this picture up here. I wonder what it is. Whatever you get, I hope you like it. See you next time.